Okay. Hello, Podnutzians, and welcome to episode number 585. Just a moment. Episode 585, which is sponsored by Craig Scholl, who's been at John since November 2017. With me here today is Steve McLaughlin, aka DoorToDoorGeek. We don't have Josh today. He's off cutting down a tree somewhere, getting his firewood in, but he'll be with us when he can again. Man, it's been a while, hasn't it, Dor?
Been quite a while. I didn't realize I actually went to Disney and came back and then did multiple college tours with my oldest son. I would say it's been a really busy summer, but that's like the kitschy thing to say. It's just been a little bit nuts is what I'll say.
A little bit nuts. That's a good show title.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a little bit nuts here as well, because I tell you what, we've had COVID, we've had the worst storms on record, we've had flooding, we've had routers blowing up and power surges. Things being. My oldest daughter, blew out her ACL at a Taekwondo session, and was going to be looking at 6 months before she could even get to see. And so luckily we were able to get her into a specialist who's trying out a new treatment. So we have this new treatment for her. She's wearing a brace on her knee at a 90-degree angle for 3, just 24/7. And she has to walk around on a pair of crutches, and she's doing half days at school. So I've been trying to run around after her and picking her up from places and doing things. She's very severely limited and enjoying it very much. So it's all been fun and games here. So I do apologize to our viewers and Patreon sponsors for sticking by us for this long. And hopefully getting a bit more into the swing of things now that things have calmed down a bit. Have they calmed down for you, Dor?
Mostly is what I'm going to say. It's still, it still feels like, I know it doesn't matter where you live. Everyone always says, "Oh, people around here can't drive." In this state, like this one place is somehow different or unique in the world. No, everywhere we go, we're surrounded by idiots. It's just, that's just the way life is. And it's, one of those weird confirmation biases. I will say, I do believe about 8 weeks ago, I broke my hand, to where I couldn't like close my finger. But I'm like stupid, so I just muscled through the pain, and I did prove something. I decided to use this as a test, as a chance to do some science. I believe, like when we were kids, and someone would say, "Oh, does your foot hurt?" and then they would punch you in the arm, and then say, "Now your foot doesn't hurt anymore." I proved for at least 6 straight weeks that when this finger really hurt, right down here, really hurt, my neck and my shoulder and my bicep, tricep, all the way down to the elbow, felt zero pain at all. So, yeah. So every day when this started feeling a little bit better, all this other stuff started coming back. So I'm going to have to definitely do a follow-up appointment with the orthopedist. Since it's been now over a year since my ulnar nerve surgery, and we're going to see if we can get that kind of stuff all fixed up, kind of thing. I'll say my 9-to-5 job is just still going nuts. I can't believe they want us in 4 days a week in physical office. For spite, just between me and you, for spite, I still wear a mask every day that I'm in the building. And my hope is that every time my boss sees me, he gets the point. He doesn't want to be here, does he? No, because I don't want to be there. Yeah. No. Now, I will say, I also have 50 months now until I can retire. I've officially started a countdown to where I can quit my 9-to-5.
Oh, awesome. 50 months. That's...
Yeah. And I will say,
what are you going to do with all that time on your hands?
Oh, we'll find out. Number one, I really would like to do Podnutz as a full-time kind of thing. I will say about the absenteeism, things happen, life happens. The last thing I wanted to do was announce a show and say we're taking a hiatus, because the most difficult thing to do is to come back from a hiatus, because you realize, oh wait, I got all this time. I can do all this housework. I can do all this cooking. I can sit with the wife and watch this ridiculous murder, death, rape series that she loves, kind of thing. Instead of actually sitting down, and to me, this is like therapy. This is like the best mental therapy I've ever had in my life, to just sit down, talk with people about interesting things, and just have fun. So we will not quit a show or put a show on a hiatus anytime soon. And with that stated, I do plan on doing more Linux for the rest of us here soon, but that format has to completely change. So I'm going to beg people for input. And Mini PC show, I keep pinging other people to do the show, and I'm not getting a lot of feedback to do it. So I have to figure out what I'm doing with that one as well.
Okay. Well, yeah. Speaking of jobs, my wife has just taken up a new job. She's got a secondment in Wellington, which is about 100 kilometers south of here, but working for a large government organization. And that is only 2 days a week in the office, and then another 2 days she does from home. And then 1 day a week to her apprenticeship. So they're calling it a secondment. And so she's just started that last week, and it's been mixed. Because of all the weather we've been having, we had some really bad storms. All the train services were blocked, and she had trouble getting into work, and she was rediscovering the life of a commuter once more. So we're all just kind of in a state of transition at the moment, really. The other thing that happened is we all got COVID. So that was a lot of fun. I ended up quite ill. My wife ended up quite ill, and she's had the three shots. I've only had two, but she seemed to be much worse off than me. I don't know why. There we go. So it was all a series of tragedies and catastrophes that have stopped us getting around the microphones once more. But we're here now.
Yeah, and I will say, almost, I'll say this: the Android ecosystem, I'm not going to say has dried up. I'm not going to say has went stale, kind of thing. But I will say, where people are doing ingenuitive work, where things are changing in the ecosystem has shifted, is what I'm going to say. I think we are going to see a little bit more unique hardware here come in the next 12 to 14 months, where for the longest time, it was just a black rectangle slab of glass was everything. I'm not going to say, foldables are the futures or whatever. I'm saying things are changing afoot. Slow and steady wins the race. With that also said, some of these apps have gotten so polished, it's absolutely ridiculous. And with that stated, so many apps have gotten just lobotomized and sucked into operating system ecosystems that, some tried and true apps we used to love are now almost pointless to have on new modern things. So, it's like I said to who is going to be my nephew here next year after the marriage, said, look, there's only one constant in the universe, and that is change. And if you try to fight change, you're going to be miserable your entire life. So recognize change, go with change. And if you can, try to predict when change happens and try to find a way to take advantage of it.
Absolutely, Dor. That's 100% correct. You can't fight change. It's going to happen. Get used to it.
So I'll say, have you had any hardware adventures? Number one.
Yeah. As I mentioned, my router blew up. Now, this is not an Android thing, but I had to replace my router. It was a really good old Asus router. It was perfect. It gave me great speeds and great coverage, and I was really happy with it for years. And I bought it secondhand as well, so that was even better. It cost me about $100. Then it blew up just as I was about to head out the door, and everything died, and so I had to wait another 3. I ordered a new mesh. It's a mesh system, and I have to say I'm pretty impressed so far. The number of devices that can connect to it at the same time, the speeds I'm getting, the coverage throughout the property, because I have quite a large property. I can go out to my back and still get Wi-Fi coverage on my cell phone. It seems to be working. It was a bit of a bugger to set up to start with. It was difficult to get the third third pack. We've got the router, the repeater, and 2 repeaters. So getting the 3rd repeater set up was a real pain. It wouldn't work. I had to call the helpline about twice. The first time was got my wrong for the ISP credentials. So that was a bit of an own goal, a user error, user stupidity.
Right. Yeah.
But I know it's working well.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the mesh stuff. Oh, and I will say, I literally spoke to 2 actual, like, legitimate scientist level people. They both said unequivocally, get rid of your microwave, get a new microwave. Somewhere in your microwave, there's basically a leak because the microwave spectrum is 2.4 gigahertz, and your Wi-Fi stuff is always 2.4. Now, with your new setup, you should also be doing a dual band setup with 2.45. But either way, somewhere in your microwave, there's like a physical flaw, like the door got bent or something. So there is literally a physical leak in your microwave that's causing it. When your microwave goes on, your Wi-Fi, your old Wi-Fi would just drop out.
Yeah, it still does. So obviously it's microwave.
Yeah.
Right, well, serves me right for buying that secondhand as well, because I got that for about $70 secondhand.
Well, and like what the one guy said, you can just simply prove it by most of the time just taking the microwave, turning it around 180 degrees, turning it on, and your Wi-Fi won't go out. Because like there's only typically like one place where there's a bend or a break where the microwave air quote radiation is getting out.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, that's good to know. You heard it here first, folks. If your Wi-Fi is causing problems with you, if your microwave is causing problems with your Wi-Fi, you need a new microwave.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, like, and I remember, some people having issues, some people not, some people having issues. And I'm like, I got my, I have this under the stove microwave. We've never had an issue with it at all. And I'm like, I don't understand why we don't have an issue. And like other people I hear have an issue. So I literally got in charge with a college professor when we went on the college tours. We got to meet people. 2 of them were science professors. And I said, look, I know this is an electromagnetic spectrum thing. Tell me what's going on. And they both said basically the exact same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good to know. Awesome.
Yeah.
So what about news? You got any news?
Well,
have you got any hardware?
Well, I'll first say around the hardware thing. My mesh network is a Linksys VLOP. I got it refurbished off of Amazon, $150 for 3 nodes. I don't go on it because to me it's like the dirty end of the pool where all of the kids are and the wife's Windows laptop. So I just let them do what they want on it. I never have an issue with it. I love the fact that on the app it tells me if a node goes offline. So it's easy to reset the node and get it back up. I have a feeling we're going to keep this network for them for years and years and years. It runs great. My only true Android hardware related thing is I still have the 1+1 Nord N, I believe it was N100. I've literally gotten to the point to where I've taken this phone and I've thrown it on the ground as hard as I possibly can. It still works. Every now and then I get into my phone, get into my car, I plug it up, and sometimes it takes 3 minutes to get Android Auto screen to start to populate. Sometimes after that happens, I hit the microphone button and I cannot get it to recognize a voice command for sometimes up to 5 minutes after that. So there's some real like misconfiguration going on in the base of this phone, which is really, and I'm literally going to just try to use this phone as long as I possibly can because I don't know when the last time I've said this, but I'll say this. When do you think is the perfect time to buy the phone, Ivor?
To buy a new phone?
Yeah. When's the perfect time?
For Christmas.
Well, then in like a month from now, because there's always a better phone. So the longer you can hold off getting a phone, you should be more satisfied with your next phone kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
well, my logic is that when the new phones start coming out, when the new phones start coming out for Christmas around about October, November, they start discounting all the previous year's models.
Well, I mean, basically because of Samsung and because of Apple, every other manufacturer tries to spread out their things in different times, because some phones come out in March with Mobile Tech Conference. It is Mobile World Conference. Some of the phones try to come out like the Google Pixel right around Google I/O. They always try, so quite literally every 2 to 3 months there is a legitimate phone coming out. So I'm just literally holding off as long as I possibly can. I'm not going to say for a flip phone, but I will say my current carrier, T-Mobile, I do believe I can go in and get a Samsung Z Fold, which I believe is the Razr style folding phone, in air quote, for free. Which I know it's not free. I want to say it's like $30 a month. So I don't want to do that. So just holding up.
Okay.
Now I will say, in hardware news, the one piece of news that everybody keeps bringing up, regurgitating, is how we are going to get this Google Pixel foldable device. To which I'll say, I mean, isn't it obvious? Isn't that like saying, sooner or later this sports team is going to win the championship? Sooner or later you're going to be right.
Exactly.
Yeah. The only question is how long. I will say I will be extremely interested in that Google Pixel foldable device when it comes out, partially because we now have Samsung, Motorola. There's at least two, I want to say Huawei and Xiaomi have foldables for now years. Some of them have like 4 generations deep now in their stuff. So I do believe by the time we see them on our normal store shelves when we go into our carrier, I think they're going to be really pristine, really well built, and really should be able to take 100,000 folds kind of thing to where they do last. The question is, will they be competitively priced by that time? And because that's the real question, when are they going to be competitively priced with normal phones? That's when we're going to see some actual action on those devices. And I'm afraid that's not going to be till probably, to be honest, like 2025, 2027. Just my guess.
Yep, probably. Yeah. I think we've talked about this before as well, that it's going to be a good couple of years before we start seeing the cheaper foldables. And I think Motorola are leading the way in that. They've got a good foldable phone that's a lot cheaper than the Samsung one. Samsung's sorting out all the technical details. Motorola's just producing the hardware based on what Samsung's already done. So it's interesting to see the developments and the more providers coming out with it. I'd forgotten about the American propensity to pay for their phones on their plans. So yeah, I'm kind of a cash buyer. So I'm more at the sub $500 mark for any new phone. I had to buy my daughter a new phone. Actually, I had to get her an Oppo for a birthday. I tried to get her a Vivo because I got a Vivo and I'm very impressed with it, but there weren't any available, so I had to buy her an Oppo. She's very happy with that. Just a 4 GB RAM. It cost $300. Then I had to buy my other daughter another phone. I had to get her. There were no Oppos or Vivos available anywhere, and the best was a Samsung. So I bought her a Samsung A13, and she's also very happy with that. So yeah, two new phones in the house, and they're both very durable, very rugged, and working well. And
very
cheap.
cool. Well,
and
affordable.
Yeah, affordable. But, you don't want to spend a huge amount of money on your kids' phones because they give them a hiding, and they really beat them up. So
yeah, I'm just a stickler. My one buddy, whenever I use the word cheap, he like tries to like insinuate. So you mean it's like not worth it? I'm like, no. It's affordable. And he says, well, then say it's affordable. Okay, kind of
right.
thing. So it's like rubbing off on me now. There is another like weird piece of news I just want to throw out there, and it's more open source related. For years, many years, a lot of people who knew about security, who knew about how apps work and ecosystems work, they would like to use an app called K9 Mail. And I will say it looks like Thunderbird, basically Mozilla, will be picking up the reins to try to fix all of the issues that we have in K9 Mail. The long and the short of it is, the original developer for it basically could not keep up with all of the things going on in security and application development. So the code got older and the code got staled. People started finding exploits in some of the code and saying, look, it isn't safe because it does this, it isn't safe because it does that. So it looks like now, moving forward, this open source email client will be managed, maintained, updated by Mozilla. To me, the real reason I want this is because I want a Thunderbird type email system on my phone. I use Thunderbird on my desktop all the time. The main reason I do is because I literally sometimes have to bounce between like 8 or 10 different email accounts, and to try to do that in a web GUI is kind of a pain in the butt. And I don't want to get all my mail forwarded to one account, because if I do, that just means if one account gets hacked, game over, man. I'm done. So,
absolutely, yep. I'm a Thunderbird user as well. Have been for a while. I was using Outlook for a while I got Microsoft Office for free. I don't like web interfaces. Email. I prefer the local clients. But yeah, Thunderbird is every bit as good as Outlook ever was, and perhaps even better. And it's getting new features all the time. So very happy with it.
Yeah,
and piece of open source news.
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of that. Another piece of thing I just wanted to bring up super quick is we, I think, have been talking about Google's Fuchsia a little bit more than maybe some other people have. And the main reason I try to talk about it is because I firmly, honestly believe Google made Android based off the Linux kernel because it was there, because somebody else was taking care of it, somebody else was maintaining it. It was less work for them, easier for them to do. But now, they got their big boy britches on. They have a team of, I'm sure, hundreds of people, 300 plus people working on Android related stuff. So then why not get rid of Android and use their own kernel code to take care of everything? And it does look like Google's Fuchsia OS is taking over another, in air quote, smart display, to where they're putting it on the Google Nest Hub and the original Nest Hub. So, they keep marching these things forward. And the real kicker is when they upgrade these OSs on these devices, the end users apparently cannot even tell. And to me, that is the absolute number one best compliment you can say when you're doing such a critical core upgrade to a piece of hardware, is that the users don't even notice the upgrade happen.
Yeah, I haven't had a look too much at Huawei was looking at its own OS to get away from Android, but that sort of died a death. Yeah, I'm intrigued at what Fuchsia can do. It's still based on the Android kernel.
No. Nope.
No. Oh, okay.
No. Well, no Linux in it whatsoever. It's all Fuchsia kernel, and then the Android ecosystem laying on top of it. Think of it as the applications are exactly the same on Fuchsia or on the old Linux Android kernel. It's just now, the apps are now working on a different backbone kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
And I've looked at the smart displays. It's like, the best way I can put it is extremely unnecessary luxury device. There's absolutely nothing you can do on these devices that you basically can't do on a $40 tablet. And these are not $40 devices, kind of thing. Okay, Schmoogle, what's my day like? Okay, Schmoogle, tell me a joke. Okay, Schmoogle, call this person. Okay, Schmoogle, all these things. The one thing you can't do still on any of these devices are, say, make a calendar appointment, which is kind of, dumb. It's kind of like Android TV. There's so many things you can't do on it. It's dumb. But people are still buying them, so they're going to keep producing them, is what I'll say.
Yep. Well, certainly have to keep an eye on it and see if any devices. I'll probably be a while before we get anything like that over here.
Right. Well, there was like only one last piece of like Android hardware I just wanted to bring up super quick. And this was Logitech. And I'm bringing it up because it's Logitech. Logitech, in my humble opinion, when they decide to make hardware, they make decent hardware. I'm not going to say they make great hardware or perfect hardware, but most Logitech pieces of hardware I've touched with my own hands, I really am a fan of it. And with this thing, I'll say to a degree. Unfortunately, this is going to be minimum. People are expecting $180. Maximum, they're expecting this is going to be up to $270 USD, and it's basically a Nintendo Switch Lite form factor, maybe a touch more comfortable in the hands looking, but it's running a Android-based operating system that is heavily focused on cloud gaming, Xbox Cloud and Steam Cloud, and all these other cloud-based systems. I mean, I am a sucker for Logitech, but I personally think this is going to die a horrible, miserable death, and people are not going to buy it. And the ones who do are going to be like, "This is a mistake. Can I return it?"
Now, would that be the fault of the hardware or the software that you can use on it? What would be the reason for that?
I'm going to say a combination. What I'll say is my belief is, especially like the example I used is whenever you do old school classic video game emulation, the computer itself doesn't matter. The screen kind of doesn't matter. The software has been tuned for a decade. It's all about the physical input controls interacting with the games. Most Android games do not have built-in joypad, gamepad support. With that stated, there are plenty of systems you can put on these devices that will overlay virtual controls on top of the screen. Great, fine. Not all games work like that. There are games where quite literally you have to swipe like from the top of the screen to the bottom to do something. There's nothing you can do on those overlay interfaces to do those kind of gesture controls. So, unless you already are really invested in the Android ecosystem in gaming, or you really do believe that your internet is perfect and your cloud gaming is going to be great, and you don't want to do it on a big screen TV, which I don't understand, this might work for you.
What if you're in a car, your kids are in a car trip or something?
Well, they're focusing on streaming games, so you better have one heck of a hot spot in your car.
Okay, yes.
If you're going to do that.
Yeah. So, do you remember the PlayStation Portable?
I don't think they make that anymore.
No, they don't. But exactly, that's my point. It died.
Yeah.
Because nobody could use it.
Yeah.
It was too expensive, and it just became too hard. So
yeah, and
I think this might be another case.
Nobody seems to be able to compete with Nintendo when it comes to handheld gaming. I don't know what it's going to take for someone to really compete. Now, the Steam Deck is doing good, but I believe that's doing good just because fanboys want it. But I don't think there's enough fanboys make it competitive with a real system.
Well, I think the Steam connection is a compelling factor in that as well.
Absolutely.
You can all your games on Steam.
Absolutely.
Play them anywhere you want.
And if you already have, 800 games in your Steam library, you buy the device, you have up to 800 games available when you first turn it on.
Yep. You don't have to reinstall them all or anything like that. It's that's a good way to do it.
Yeah. Did you have any news type things you thought were interesting?
Personal technology news, I suppose you could put it. You mentioned Android TV a little while ago, and I have been struggling with my Android TV, mainly because I spend a lot of time watching YouTube, and I prefer to watch things on the television and not on my tablet or my phone. That's just personal preference. So I got a little bit tired of continually having to be interrupted with ads, two beginning of the show, one ad halfway through, another two ads at the end of it, and then ads popping up all over the place. I just got a bit tired of it, and you mentioned that you should get a YouTube Premium subscription, but there's certainly no reflection on you, Dor, but I really don't like the idea of having to pay not to see ads. It's, to me, it seems like and I'm being hyperbolic here, a bit of, you're being extorted basically to pay money for protection against something which you find really intrusive and really annoying. So I started down for some options on. Hang on a second. I just realized my laptop isn't plugged in and it's about to die. Can I just take a second and plug it into the thing? Just a minute. Sorry.
There. Okay, my notes going through dozens of drops from a ladder. Crack the screen. Yeah. Oh yeah, Samsung's definitely tough. Very tough, can take a beating.
Okay, sorry about that.
All good.
Yeah, sort of watching ads on YouTube and sick of and not really wanting to pay money for a premium subscription. It's different if you're paying for Netflix or something, because that you're paying for you're paying for the content that's on there. You're not paying for see the with it. So YouTube's a platform that comes naturally with ads, and I understand that monetization model. That's fine. So I went straight to NewPipe, which we've raised in the show before, and decided to basically stop using YouTube and go straight to NewPipe. But that was a bit of a hassle, because basically there's no Chromecast option on NewPipe. You can't cast natively. You have to mirror your screen. If your device hasn't got that great a processor, then you end up with stuttery and it's jittery, and then depending on your connection, the speed of your bandwidth, you end up with all. You did find a really good option which on F-Droid called SkyTube, which does allow. I'll just put the link in the chat here. Native. So it uses the NewPipe API, and it will allow you to download and Chromecast, or just Chromecast. So I have been using that SkyTube app for a couple of days now, and very impressed, I have to say. A little bit janky at some places, but you expect that. So far, it's been really, really good, and solved all my YouTube issues. I can now watch all my favorite YouTube programs without having to watch some ads, and I don't have to pay to not watch them.
Well, I mean, the only thing I'll say is and it's the obvious thing. Clock is ticking. It will, because you're not paying these people either, are you?
No, absolutely not.
Then it's going to break, and it's just a question of when. 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. We don't know. Because YouTube is like an amorphous, never-ending, never change. It's always changing back end for stuff. And will this also skip the inline sponsorship things? Because to me personally, yes. I think they're worse.
Yeah, they are worse. No, it does have an option to skip the sponsorship messages. It doesn't seem to work for anything that I've got, though, any sponsorship messages that come up for me. So I don't know if that's a location-based issue or not, but doesn't seem to work for me.
Well, I'll say the two things I think that have to happen for the sponsorship blocking things to happen is, one, the channel has to have enough viewers, because typically with those sponsorship things is when people on desktops are using the same database, they have the option to mark something as a sponsorship. Here's the beginning, here's the end. So it has to be contributed. It isn't just automatically generated. Two, if the video literally just came out or the video is live, it's never going to block it.
No, of course not.
You're gonna have to wait sometime for a 100 or 3,000 people to watch the video before it will become available. I have sat here on my desktop computer doing stuff, and then I refresh my YouTube sub subscriptions, and a video came out 8 seconds ago, and I start to play it, and then I realize I'm the guy that has to mark here's the sponsorship beginning and ending because the video is so fresh.
Right. Well, one thing I also found myself doing with the old was I was spending more time telling YouTube what I didn't want to watch than I was watching stuff that I did want to watch. So I was kind of a slave to its recommendation engine. It was coming up with all these recommendations. They were terrible recommendations. And, I spend all the time by clearing my recommendation queue of crap that I didn't really want to watch. So I really just got tired of that and decided I'd be better off without content at all. And just purely by accident, I came across this SkyTube. And I'm not sure how they monetize, but it uses the same model as NewPipe, and they've been around for a while. Hopefully it'll continue.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things that only time will tell.
Yeah.
I'm going to also bring one from F-Droid. And honestly, I hate to say it like this. I know somebody else showed me this app. Can't remember who it was. Can't remember who it was at all. But the name of the app is Super Retro Mega Wars, which is absolutely a mouthful. You know what I mean? What the best way to describe this is a best app I've seen so far that gives you the ability to basically couch compete. And what I mean by that is you can be at a house, you can have 2 people or you can have 5 people, and you all basically are on the same Wi-Fi network. And then you can basically say you're doing a competitive multiplayer. All the players will show up, and then basically you see who can play better at retro games. The retro games are basically remakes of Missile Command. Let me see if I can. Why won't it let me see that? Wow, that's incredibly hard to see. So I'm going to go over to Google Play and say Super.
Have you seen the new format of the Play Store?
Oh my! Honestly, on the Android devices, I hate it. I think it's really difficult to see. It's really difficult to work around. On desktop, I think it works really well. Okay, it is. The games are basically Asteroids, Missile Command, Snake, Space Invaders, Tempest, I believe is the name of the game, and then a Tetris-like clone. And then you basically see who can do better in the games. Or you can have a single match where you can play Snake. I'm going to play Tetris, so let's see who gets the higher score. Or you can say, I'm going to play Tetris, you beat my score.
Yeah. I mean, I think I saw this one ages ago as well. It was it's great. It's going back to the old arcade games, isn't it? They're becoming more and more popular.
Yeah, and they do have multiple input control styles, so you can change them around, pick which one you like better. I do believe there actually was a way to do an air quote wide area network plays where you could just say, I want to meet with a random person on the internet, air quote, and play them.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm going to say, color me a fan of this app. The real reason I like this app is it's very easy to start, very easy to play. 3 minutes later, you can stop playing, and you're not like just one more time. Yeah, I mean.
Is it in black and white? They're all the games in black and white.
I want to say in Space Invaders, I did see some color, or I think it's one of those options. There's one of the options was to basically do you remember the original video games? They had basically fake painted background.
Yeah. They had colored strips across the screen. Yeah.
I'm 99% sure that was an option with Missile Command and Space Invaders. I thought, or it could all be a dream.
Could all be a dream.
But I swore that was it. So I was a fan of this. I love this classic old school format, even if they're in air quote, taking over intellectual property that they clearly don't own. And the reason they clearly don't own is I'm sure even if they ask, all the owners would be like, what? and then say something like, give me $5 million or something stupid.
Yep. Yep. Oh, well, speaking of intellectual property that they clearly don't own, back on the 5th of May, a little after our episode, I found an article which told us that it was actually Wolfenstein's 30th anniversary. Wolfenstein, the original Wolfenstein 3D, they emerged back in May 30 years ago. I can't believe it's been 30 years since I first played that game. I remember having to borrow a laptop from my work, which was not an easy thing to do, to borrow a laptop from my work. And I used to play this game. I used to load it from a floppy disk onto the laptop, black and white laptop, and play this on the train ride home. A lot of fun. But this game was the app that I've just put in the chat there is a bit dodgy. What it does is it doesn't give you the option to install the games directly from the Play Store. It's an emulator in 3D. It takes you to a website where you can download the APK file and install that on your phone. So it doesn't install directly from the Play Store. But it is an exact of the original game. So, but it has screen controls, and I think you can use a controller. I'm not too sure. I found it very difficult to use with the screen controls. So if you can get another controller, like something to use with you, be even better. It was good to see how well it could run on an Android phone.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it runs good. I mean, 30 years ago. Well, the only thing I know then for sure is Leonardo DiCaprio would want nothing to do with this game because it's over 25 years old. Just saying.
It's over 25. Yeah, is 25 a bit too old for him?
He's never dated anybody over the age of 25, and when he's dating somebody and they turn 26, he drops them.
Yep,
always. Gotcha. So yeah, this has over 10,000 downloads. I will say, you say sketchy. I say what could possibly go wrong loading an app that you click and then it installs another APK. So this might be a good use case for an app like Island, where you put it on like a separate work profile. Just saying, Yeah.
Install at your own risk, but I've had it on mine for a while and I haven't seemed to have had any problems.
That's okay. I would say these are the kind of classic games that, and quite literally 2022, they can't do. They can't make this game today, kind of thing, because it's not politically correct, period. Which just means I'm a fan.
Well, you can't go and shoot Nazis? I thought that was...
Well, I'll just say they don't want you to shoot anybody. I mean, after the actor shot the camera person, all of basically Hollywood wants to take a pledge that they're going to have less guns in movies all around, less gun violence in movies, because it's perpetuating. I don't know, but
yeah, it was Alec Baldwin, wasn't it?
Alec Baldwin, that's it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say it like this: no matter what, I cannot even begin to understand what he's going through. So I'm not going to make fun of him for that, because there's no way he was mentally prepared for anything that happened that day.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what happened. I didn't really follow it. That and the Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing, I completely ignored it.
Oh, you should have, because she's an idiot. I mean, she basically Joe Biden'd it, where like everything she said on the stand was like she was like repeating lines from movies. Yeah.
The whole life is a facade, an act.
Yeah. The one thing I loved when she said that he had this huge jar of cocaine, and he just started chuckling, and he turned to his guy and says, "It's a jar of dirt." And then they show, and then the meme people cut to a clip from him on Pirates of the Caribbean holding a big jar of dirt running, and he was like, "That's the jar." So yeah. I'm going to do another free open source style app. because these are kind of apps that when they first came out, let's just say they weren't super polished. They definitely needed some room to grow kind of thing. And I will say it is much better now than before, and it is called Tux Paint, and it's from Automation Systems. I believe if I click here, yeah, I can see multi-platform, simple interface, entertaining interface. Oh, not only simple, but entertaining. Drawing tools, commands, translations. This has version 0.9.2.28.8, updated July 7th, 2022. So it is continuously getting updated. I will say one of the signs of a good app is either one, the developer made it perfect and didn't need to update it ever again. They're few and far between. Or two, the app continuously gets updated because hardware changes, screen size changes, screen resolution changes. So they got to keep things updating. This needs Android 5 and up, 50,000 plus downloads, content rating E for everyone, permissions, not much, photo, media files, storage, pair with Bluetooth devices. I'll say simple needs. Originally released on, that's a new thing I think we did not see before, July 4th, 2022. There's no way that's right. This was on maybe from a different developer because it is free and open source, but I know this was on Android at least 2014.
Okay.
So maybe it was a different developer, which is fine. That's what happens with free and open stuff. So yeah, to me, this is the perfect app. If you just want to doodle, number one, if you just want to doodle around, killing some time, this is a perfectly safe app to install and to do it with. In reality, this is a perfect app for like a 3 to a 6-year-old on a big tablet that you don't mind, being dropped, and just give it to them and just let them draw away. And, and they'll be sitting there because it's actually physically interactive. It isn't just, they're reading like a comic or something.
Cool. Yeah, there's lots of these paint apps around.
Yeah.
Drawing apps. I always found them pretty difficult to use to actually produce anything that was meaningful.
Well, to be an artist is not easy. If it was, everybody would be one.
Got to cut my ear off.
There's a lot of trial and error in my experience in drawing in general, because you have to keep drawing to see what doesn't work before you can start to say, this is how I pictured it in my head, kind of thing. I will say the plus to this app is it is the exact same, I believe, interface that I remember seeing on desktops as well. So quite literally, if you wanted to, you could also get like a drawing pad, hook it up to a computer, and use the same application.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So it certainly saves on paper.
Oh yeah, true.
Because my kids used to do a ton of drawing all the time.
Yeah.
Go through.
Now this is going to sound weird, but there's a new kind of erasable paper out. Wait for it, please. I know it sounds stupid. There's this new type of erasable paper that was, in air quote, invented, where you can print on this paper. You can erase the ink on the paper up to 30 times. And supposedly every time you erase it, you can't tell there's any ink on it, and then you can pre-print back on it again. That to me is the kind of interesting thing that I really need in an office, because 90% of the piece of papers I see are like, interesting, not trash or recycle bin. You know what I mean? Because I don't care. I would love it if I could say, not interesting. Put it in the internal recycle bin where we're going to actually erase the paper and reuse it.
You remember remember the yoga book?
Oh yeah.
The keyboard that was a light thing. They weren't actual buttons; they were lights.
Yeah.
But that had that was a drawing sensitive. The key drawing sensitive. So you could get a pad, any piece of paper, stick it on top of the keyboard, and write on there, and it would transcribe into the drawing application on the yoga book, and then you could into a document, which I thought was genius. I used it all the time when I was working, and that was one of the cases where I actually had a serious use of a Android device in the workplace It was, and they came out with another version later on, the yoga book, but then it just died. No one bought it. It was pretty expensive, but damn, it was good. I really missed that.
Yeah, it was definitely a touch expensive for what it was. And the Android version, because they had two versions, they had the Windows version and the Android version. The Android version was fine. I'll say it wasn't great. The Windows version, because I did play with both, the Windows version was remarkably more responsive and just easier to use.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What my son has is the Wacom tablet, where it's just literally just a flat slab of plastic.
Yeah.
And you connect it and you can see the pen where it touches on the screen. He had some fun with that, is what I'll say. But I will say there is another one that you showed me where they're coming out with another full screen folding laptop where the keyboard is not a keyboard. The keyboard is a screen. And in my experience, it's going to be really difficult for that thing to sell because 90% of the people who use a laptop want keys and a keyboard.
Yeah. Well, it comes with a keyboard, according to the article. You stick it on top of the screen. But so what's the keyboard built in?
Yeah, I didn't see that. I would say that it absolutely is useless. I mean,
and expensive, $3,500.
Yeah, I got that kind of money. Just sitting around and give me a couple of them. I'll play with them. Yeah.
Pretty decent specs, though, I have to say. Had a decent amount of RAM, a good processor. If you had that money to throw around, you might want to try it. But not me. No, too rich for my blood.
Well, I mean, part of me thinks even if I had the money, I'm not sure I would. I don't know.
You'd have to have F-off money.
Not gonna argue with you there.
I got an app. So now that COVID is a thing of the past almost, you can use this app to go and visit a city. So this app is called Visit a City. Doing any travel, you might want to have a look at. I'm sure there are plenty of apps like this, but I had a look at it and I thought I was quite impressed with it. This app will basically ask you where you're going, and it will tell you where all the good stuff is in that particular city. And I think it's there's an element of crowdsourcing with it as well. So we got up to version 4.0.79, last updated on the 26th of August, which is pretty good. 1 million plus downloads. Requires 5 and up, rated 3 plus, and first released on the 23rd of April 2015. So it's been going for a while. Sorry, you want to go somewhere?
Short break.
Okay. All right. So we're visiting a city. What I did with this was just put in a couple of cities that where Dor lives, Baltimore, and another one, Vancouver Island, where Josh lives, and just had a look around and see what was on offer in those cities. And it has options for travel, accommodation, visiting sites, all that sort of thing. And I was really impressed with the kind of it had lots of pictures, and it had feedback from other people who left opinions and reviews about certain places. It gives you tips on. Theoretically, you can plan a whole trip and itinerary using this particular app. Now, I haven't had a chance to actually use it in anger because I don't travel anywhere, and especially difficult to travel anywhere. There's lots of places it highlights in Australia and America and around Europe. So if you're planning on making a trip sometime, then you might want to check this out. There you go. I managed to successfully talk for away.
I will say I would have liked to have this app in my pocket today. Long story short, I'm really happy that the White House doesn't do like really good background checks on people. Just saying, because if they did, then when I walked in the door, they would have known that Joe Biden's, I believe it is, great grandmother is buried in my family graveyard. And I say family graveyard, and I always forget. Do you have a family graveyard, Ivor?
No, we don't.
Do you know anybody that has a family graveyard?
No.
Yeah, that's the thing. When I was a kid, I thought it was perfectly normal. We would go picnics in the family graveyard. Western Maryland, where there's hills, lots of wildlife. There's a Rocky Gap State Park, huge state park, beautiful state park. Across the highway, off of Breakneck Road, there's a little plot of land, literally maybe like 100 feet by 200 feet. And that's the family graveyard. And in the corner of the family graveyard, there's, I believe, 6 Robinettes. Joseph Biden's middle name is Robinette. That's where he got the name Robinette from. And then they would have known that he is like my, I want to say 6th cousin kind of thing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm really happy they don't do their due diligence. They didn't know that because we did the White House self-guided walking tour, and it's the actual White House itself. It is remarkable how tiny that thing is.
Yep.
And it's obviously in that old world classic style where every room is small. Nearly every room has a fireplace, and nearly every room has at least 2, if not 4 doors. Just because that's how old houses were. I don't know if you ever watched Django Unchained.
Yes, that's a great film.
Well, if you notice, when they were in the house of Leonardo DiCaprio, every room had at least 3 or 4 doors. That's just how like the old houses were. So we went there, and if I had this app, I would have known better where to go eat lunch. I'll just say, because we went to the Smithsonian Natural Museum with dinosaurs and stuff. And we went to the like cafe in there, and it was literally like licking the floor. The food was like quite bad. I mean, just quite bad.
Really?
But I should have known, because I'm sitting there, we're in it, and I don't see any employees eating here. You know what I mean? It's like they know better. So if I had this app, at least I could at least looked around and see if there was something better out there. Which there's DC. My oldest son said, "You know what I recognized about Washington D.C.? It seems like it's a tourist trap." I said, "Yeah."
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And I said, when it was built, no one was really intended to live here except the president, because it was a dirty swamp with nothing in it. So yeah.
How long did you spend there?
The walking tour itself was only like 40 minutes because that's how small the White House is, kind of thing. So basically just, self-guided tour, looked at pictures, looked at painting, look at a chair more expensive than my car, look at a chandelier more expensive than my house. Yeah, great. Yeah. And I said, here, I guarantee you is where they do press conferences, because I can see the flags being right there. This room is empty. Here's where they have all the press people down, and right there is where they could do press conferences. And then the other half of the tour, we found out that's where they do. That's where they actually do press conferences. Okay. So it was just interesting.
This would have been handy for you then.
It at least would have gave me a better idea if there was some place really close to get normal food, good food. And the other thing was, my son, like as soon as we got there, said, "Well, I'm hungry. Can we get something from this like food cart?" And we got a burger from a food cart. And then he's like, "Oh God, the bun's so dry, I can't eat it." I said, "Dude, complaining about food truck, these kind of food truck food is like walking up to a toilet for a drink and complaining that it isn't Coca-Cola." You get exactly what you expect when you get food here, dude.
First world problems, eh?
Literally. And I thought for a second, what kind of little whiny complainer did I raise? Oh my goodness. But I can't say that because I love the kid, and I know the kid's smart and all that kind of stuff. But the next app I'm going to bring, you were talking about streaming earlier, and not streaming normal stuff, but streaming YouTube. This was an app I just stumbled across on Reddit, and it's called Scroll Watch Movie and TV Guide. And I looked at it and I thought, this is an app I could really see my wife liking. And I looked at the app, downloaded it, played with it for like 5 minutes, and then I realized it can do searches. It can give you suggestions based off of content. But then I realized this thing doesn't tell you what streaming service it's on. That's kind of useless. We need to know, is this on the Apple Plus, because I don't have an Apple device, or what? And I literally just pinged the guy, and he says that's in a future update. I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Well, thanks for getting back with me." 8 hours later, it was in the app.
Oh, wow.
I'm thinking, well, that's not responsive, is it? So I had it installed for at least a little bit longer, and I did play with it for a little bit more. And I will say, I do suggest this to people who like movie and TV style content, especially if they like content on streaming services versus just normal in air quote television. Again, it's called Scroll Watch Streaming Guide from Deco Soft Apps.
Yep.
It does have in-app purchases, which I'm not completely sure with what it is. And I don't see an app info button on this one. Do I? No, I don't. That's weird. That's me thing. Yeah. Oh, there
you sent this around, I think, the other day on the Voxer chat, and I had a look at it. It was a while ago.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, except you couldn't find out where you could watch things.
Right. It's version 15.0.3, updated August 23rd, 2022. So, a week ago. You need 4.4 Android and up, which is a really low bar to go to. 1,000 plus installs. The in-app purchases says $299.49 USD. Again, I don't know. E for everyone. The details, all it needs is full network access, which I like. If you notice, open source apps and like the apps that I try to suggest seem like they mostly use little permissions. Once in a while, one slips through. So yeah, I'm kind of a fan of this app for its simplicity. I'll see if I can get the wife's spousal approval on it though.
Okay. Yeah, I ended up uninstalling it because I found Just Watch was a bit of a better option for me. But yeah.
Trust me. I love Just Watch when I'm trying to find something like, for instance, I'm looking for a movie called None of That, spelled N-U-N of that.
Right.
Was released in 2009. Basically, think Austin Powers, except they're nuns. And it's gratuitous with lots of cussing and lots of violence.
No, sounds right up my alley.
Well, good news. If you have a Plex account, it's completely free to watch. And I got that from None of That. N-U-N of that.
Of that. Okay. Well, another one you mentioned was that new Mike Myers one.
Oh,
that series he's done. Pentaveret, yeah.
Pentaveret.
I thought they got.
I'll just give a quick thing about Pentaveret. If you like Mike Myers for Shrek and you like Mike Myers for like cute things, this ain't for you. This is incredibly more vulgar than I expected it to be. Much more obscene than I expected it to be. Much more nudity than I expected it to be. But incredibly like smart comedy at times, interlaced with really dumb comedy.
Not seeing a downside so far.
Oh yeah, no. Oh no. When I finally convinced people to watch it, everyone I've convinced comes back later and was like, "This is fantastic." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. This is nothing like what you expected."
She'll have to have a look at that as well.
Yeah.
We'll have a chance.
Very cool.
I got one. This is an app I use every morning to check the news. It's just a plain old reader. It'll read you. And again, it's on F-Droid. I don't know about you, Dor, but I can't remember the last time I actually went on to the Play Store to get an app, to find an app. When I go into the Play Store on my phone, all I get is for ads for apps I don't want.
Well, I'll say the places I look at are always Play Store links. And if I see an app I like, I then basically copy the name. I go to F-Droid, see if it's there. And if it isn't there, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't look at the app. I'll skip this app for now, and then I'll just go find something else. But this app is
anyway. I was using another RSS reader, and it was okay. But then I found this one, which is to me much better, and I use it every day. It was very easy to use. It's got a very simple interface. You can add all sorts of RSS feeds. It pulls them all together. All the new articles come down in one go, and you can just spend your time going through which news articles you want to read. It also gets around paywalls. So if you wanted to have a look at an article that's behind a paywall, this will just automatically circumvent that. And I've got access to quite a few articles for free normally. Subscription. So yeah, check it out if you're sick of the old news apps.
Okay, well, the two questions I got. Well, first I'll say the beautiful thing about most web paywalls is they're the most lazy things ever created in the world.
Yep.
Sometimes all you got to do is disable JavaScript. As simple as that. And boom, paywall gone. It's like, how lazy are you as a company? And what it is, it's like it's like having a stop sign at the end of your street. If nobody respects the stop sign and nobody ever gets any ticket from the stop sign, whatever, it's there. Who cares? A visitor might come by, a stupid person, and stop at the stop sign, but nobody else does. But I'm gonna guess there's enough people that don't try to go around the paywalls that it's beneficial to these companies to have them up. Number one. Number two, I will say, like, where are you finding your RSS feeds that you like, or how?
Well, just from the regular news, just through the website that you'd normally use. And there's usually, you just do a search for RSS feed, or you do a simple internet search for RSS feed for Otago Daily Times. If you wanted to have a look at the RSS feed for that, most websites have that link for you. There's a little section at the bottom, RSS feeds. So just look for those and find. It's a bit of a bugger. You can't go find them directly from the app. You have to go to the website and then find the RSS and then paste it into the app. But I mean, that's the only real hassle. Once you've got it set up, it just works like a charm. It's great. RSS is wonderful.
Yeah. I'm still like butt sore about what happened with Google RSS Reader, because it was an easy way for normal people to use RSS. I will say one of the things I do is when I'm at a website and I like the content, I literally just go to like the category listing of that topic I'm looking at, and then just go into the URL bar and put a /feed at the end.
Yeah.
And a lot of times there's an RSS feed right there just waiting to be picked up.
Yep.
Well,
another thing that people do, and for you, if you're interested in YouTubers and they've got a new YouTube video out, they've got an RSS feed on the website, so you can use this, put the link in, and find out if there's a new video you can watch when you're checking your news in the morning. That's cool.
Very cool. What I'm going to do, Ivor, to be honest, I'm going to send you 2 links, if I remember, to 2 RSS feed readers I like. I'll say one of them is a little bit different in all the stuff it can do, and the other one I think just looks really good. Just see what you think about it. I'm still using Tiny RSS as my main RSS feed reader thing, only because I love the idea of having one I can have in a full desktop web browser with really good features and support and good keyboard shortcuts kind of thing, and then have a mobile app where it basically syncs up to where I don't have to read the same thing twice kind of thing.
Right.
And it just works. The bad thing is you have to have a server and you got to have it set up and you got to be responsible for it if it gets hacked kind of thing. So it comes with that, which, a lot of people won't do. So I'm still using that one for now. I'm holding off as long as I can before I force myself to jump to a dedicated app. But this definitely sounds good.
And it's very simple and quick to use, and you can just, it also cuts out all the you don't get the web page for the article. You get and a couple of pictures. Please look at those. If you're interested, just the text and a simple background, this is really, really good.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm going to bring one more, and I'm sorry this comes with a little bit of a story, is what I'm going to say. Okay. This is a Google Play app. I thought I saw it on F-Droid as well. I'll see if I can find it on F-Droid as well. The app is called Milky Tracker. Okay. Gather around, chitlins. We're going to go back in time a little bit. Literally, we're going to go back 20 plus years ago, aka Leonardo DiCaprio might want nothing to do with me back then, but there was an app called Scream Tracker, where it was basically like a brown interface, DOS interface, where it was like a digital piano roll, to where you had, like you could have a different number of tracks, vertical tracks, and then there was basically there was slots. You could then set the tempo and speed, and you could literally like have a 4/4 snare drum where we would go space 1, space 2, space 3, space 4 snare drum, space 1, and then three more spaces and then snare drum. And then at the end of the thing, you could say, well, now loop this 5 times, or just move to the next set of things. And you could basically set music up like that. And it all used like MIDI sounds, but you could import like wave samples kind of thing. So you could rip samples from other things and sit down and basically create music. The real type of music this was extremely like leaning towards was more of like a techno sound is what I'll say. But if you knew what you were doing kind of thing, you could literally do classical music in a Scream Tracker format. So I made more than a couple songs way back in the day when my internet provider was called CharmNet, CHARM.net. And my address was something like charm.net/tilde 28fly, because I had my 28K modem and it was fly. So I literally made music and I would post it up there. That's how long ago this was. And I remember a guy from Germany pinged me and said, I love this one thing you did, even though what I did was I wasn't making songs. I was making like music exercises where I would just, do underlying beats and then just try to do some sort of symphonic harmony over topic kind of thing. And I just had fun with it. The other day I thought about it and I found my old songs that I saved from my Google Music subscription. I downloaded it kind of thing. So I had all the old songs and I listened to them. So then I got nostalgic about trackers and I found this, and there is a desktop version and there is an Android version. So I'm really tempted to try to find some time and just sit down and just make some tunes up, see what happens kind of thing. Because I'm sure now the sample ecosystem is insane. I'm sure I can find any sound I want and basically reproduce or emulate anything from, an old James Brown tune to something really crappy from today. Because, most of the stuff from today is really crappy.
Yeah, this looks great for if you're a muso. I remember an app a while ago. I forget what. Those DVDs or CDs they used to give away with when you bought a new computer. They'd give you a piece of crap with junk software, and one I got was a music maker. Oh no, they would give it away in a magazine. They'd stick it to the front of a magazine, and you have software on the DVD. Anyway, yeah, it was a music maker, and you could add all sorts of beats and effects and all sorts of voice sample. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. I spent hours playing with that. It was a great fun.
Yeah, and I will say that, and again, I'm going to repeat myself from a little bit earlier. We all have to find our own types of therapy. To just in air quote pass the time. To just stay sane kind of thing. This was a good one for me back in the day. I actually had some kind of fun just playing around, seeing what kind of things could just, be made up.
Yeah, great. And kids especially love that sort of stuff. They can let their creativity go.
Yeah, my oldest son just bought something. It has a weird name, like a Stylosaurus or something. I don't know. Okay. Long and the short of it is, it's a little rectangular box with a little like hexagonal like grid towards the bottom, which almost resembles like piano keys. Okay. Then there's a little stylus that's hardwired into the thing. And then there's like 8 knobs. And if you were to think of this think of this as the ultimate synthesizing thing from like the 80s, where you could make like crazy chip tune kind of things.
Yep.
And he saw a couple videos on it, loves it. So we bought him it. It was like $70, I want to say.
Right.
So he is definitely liking making his music, and that's the thing. You know, some people play trumpets. Some people use trackers. Some people use weird. Oh, and here's the other thing. Ready? He got it, and then this is how it's a small world kind of thing. My wife bought it and said, and then she looked at the back because she was expecting made in China, made in Korea, something like that. Look at the back. She says, "What in the hell?" And I'm like, "What's wrong?" She says, "If I would have known it was built here, I don't know if I would have bought it." I'm like, "Why?" She says, "Because there's no way it's going to last." I'm like, "What do you mean? It's from America?" She says, "No, it's from Cork, Ireland." And I'm like, "That's where my grandma is from." So I would have bought it, kind of thing. So it's a weird Irish creation of a music instrument. Think of it as oh god, what's it? It's not pheromone kind of thing where you
theremin.
Yeah. Think of it like that, except with a stylus and knobs. You know, it's the best way I can explain it.
It's the future. No one plays guitar anymore.
It's something, all right. I'll say that.
All my Guitar Hero.
Okay. Do you have any more apps you want to bring?
No, I didn't really come very prepared. There are some more apps I've got on my phone, but my screen copy, I like to share my screen when I'm showing you right now because it's not working for some reason. So I'll leave it at that.
Gotcha. I will say to the listener, there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's at least 10 more apps in the list that will be at the top of the notes that are in the top of the YouTube description as well. Basically called like some more links or something like that. It's the very first link in the notes and the very first link in the YouTube description. If you want more apps, I encourage you to go check them out. And if you think we missed something that was obvious we should have brought, don't hesitate. Shoot us an email, aaa@podnutz.com. I'll also say, since the last episode, we do not have any more emails. If you would like to send us an email, super easy, aaa@podnutz.com. If you want to give us a voicemail, super easy, 707-6-PODNUT. It still works. If you want to record us something, you can do that as well. If you want to be on the show, even, as long as you don't talk like a mumble mouth, you know, like my youngest son, and your audio doesn't sound like, you know, you're on the back of an aircraft carrier, it could definitely work. I will say that.
It couldn't be worse than me.
I'm a good boy. Do you have the app rundown, or you want me to do it?
Yep. Yeah, I got it here. So first iTube from F-Droid, and then we had Super Retro Mega Wars by Peter Sawillo, and then Tux Paint by Automation Systems, Scroll Watch by DecoSoft Apps, Visit a City by Visit a City, surprise, Read You on F-Droid, and Tracker. Ljubomir Leeson. Sounds very Swedish or Scandinavian, that one. Ljubomir Leeson. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. More for you next week.
Very cool. Very cool.
With Josh.
I will say one app I missed accidentally. I'm going to try to make sure I do like a full review on it next week. It's called Merlin Bird ID. Literally, you take your phone, you hit the button. If there's a noisy bird by your house, whatever, you hit the button, it will tell you what kind of bird it is, which I think is fantastic. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Kind of like how I had the snake snap, you know, take a picture of the snake, they tell me what it is. So I thought that was a really cool find. And literally the day I found it, somebody up north of me, like in Boston or whatever, sent me a link to it, said, "This is awesome." Like, oh crap. Okay. So I'll try to do my due diligence on that one. Again, thanks everyone for the support, forever, period. The best kind of support you can do is literally come out live. We try to do this show Thursday nights, YouTube kind of thing, hanging out. If you want to come out in different ways, we are on Discord right now. If you ping me on other social media platforms, I try to get back with you. But no, I'm not on TikTok, or I try not to be on Facebook over to try to stay sane. But for right now, Discord is still sane, so I'm there. Do you have any parting words there, Ivor?
No, I just apologize to everybody who likes to catch up with us. Sorry we haven't been online for ages. Hopefully we can and it's getting back to normal. So yeah, it was good to have Red and the other bloke in the chat today. Who was that? That was Fuzz311. Good to see you guys. Yeah. Sorry we haven't been able to talk much, but hopefully next week we'll have Josh on board and we can give him some stick about being a lumberjack. Exactly.
Yeah, he's from Canada and he's a lumberjack and he's okay. Kind of like Monty Python. Yeah. Something like that. So yeah, again, thank everyone for the support. Thanks everyone for coming out. Never ever forget, support those who support you. Talk to everyone later.
Cheerio.
And put the video back on to YouTube. Now I got to do a little bit of editing there. No, heat a couple times like crazy loud. Smack.
585. Yeah. Are you going to watch the Rings of Power?
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
The Rings of.
No, I'm kidding. I heard you perfectly fine. Hell no, I watched that. What's wrong with you?
Good. Neither am I.
I mean, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure, but I don't care. There's nothing about any Tolkien or any Game of Thrones that I cared about. I tried watching them and I thought, wow, this is hot garbage.
Even the original movies that Peter Jackson did.
Okay. They were visually epic. All it was a bunch of retards walking. I'm tired of seeing people walking. There's a faster way. Big dude has magic, man. Come on. What I really liked was the original cartoon Hobbit. I thought that was absolutely epic. Yeah, it was like I want to say.
I remember the. I remember the cartoon. What are the Rings? You could get that on VHS, but VHS. I don't remember that. I didn't think they did a Hobbit.
Hobbit movie where there was it was cartoon and like singing. I want to say 79 is when it was from.
Oh yeah. I have no doubt.
Basically, the gist of it was the gist of the Hobbit movies. The dragons terrorizing the town. Yeah, like I almost can't watch anything fantasy related, because one of my beliefs is the truth is always so much more fascinating than anything that people can imagine. The stuff we discover, the stuff we figure out, the stuff we find makes fantasy stuff look cartoony.
Yeah. I mean, but
well, and I actually get people wanting to escape. Fine, I get you. You escape. I'm fine. I don't need to escape.
Yeah. I mean, I've been finding out a bit about Tolkien's life as a podcast that's been going on about him, and
he was definitely an interesting fellow. I know that.
Yeah. And C.S. Lewis as well. But the amount of work that's gone into the detail behind it, it's like no other author in modern times is maybe George R.R. Martin, but nowhere near as well.
Right.
So, but that if it doesn't float your boat, then it's never going to.
Well, I mean, and really, I don't watch a lot in air quotes. And here's the real truth. Like we were in the Natural History Museum. It said something like meet an old relative or something like that. And then we walked up, and there was a little tiny mouse-looking like creature, just a little bit bigger than a mouse. And I said that, and I said to one of the kids, I said, that is the thing that was an extremely distant relative of you, and that was around during the dinosaur period, and it enabled us to survive because it was so tiny, so small, dinosaurs couldn't get to it. My sister-in-law literally just got a science degree in college and just got her education degree in college, literally like last month. I think she's now a teacher starting next month. And she says, no, it ain't. This time period was nowhere even close to the dinosaur period. And I looked at the time period and said 210 million years ago. And I know dinosaurs were around for a while. And so I just said, okay, Googled, when did dinosaurs appear? 230 million years ago. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm right. I don't need a degree to tell me that. And I said to the kid, my other kid, I sometimes spend 6 hours a day literally just watching science lectures and science like college courses kind of thing. It's like we all have addictions. That's one of the ones I just can't stop. I don't want to watch like a movie about some kid getting murdered or something. No, I'll pass.
No, it doesn't really turn me on either. Just it was a bad choice of words.
Well, could be worse. And I'm trying to remember one of the last things I actually watched that wasn't like Pentaveret, or none of that. Every now and then I do watch stuff, but it doesn't seem like it's very often, is what I'll say. And I'm still watching, and I'm still listening to, on a lot of days, more than 24 hours worth of podcasts. So, we all have our thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
But there's a bloke on YouTube I watch as well. He's called Nerdrotic. Gary, someone, I don't know if you've seen him before. He fantasy and all sorts of stuff, and him and a few of his fellow podcasters have been absolutely destroying the Rings of Power. And if you go onto the Rings of Power Amazon Prime YouTube site and have a look at the trailers and check out the comments, don't watch the trailers, but have a look at the comments. The comments are just insane, and the ratio, and the comments are all incredibly funny. It's horrendous. We're having a problem getting into your Nextcloud again. I'm in, but it just comes up with a blank screen.
Yeah, I just got in perfectly fine from my server offsite. Are you sure you're doing HTTPS in the beginning?
I'm just using a saved link I've got. Yeah, HTTPS. Yeah. Hang on. It says connection not secure, but I went through that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I am going to break down and get a Let's Encrypt cert, but I don't want to.
Okay, well, I'll try it. I'll try it again.
Yeah, and I'm on Firefox. I don't know what you're on.
I'm on Firefox as well.
Okay.
New window.
Yeah, and worst case scenario, you can just put it on like a OneDrive or something.
Yeah. So, how are you coping with not having anything to do with Facebook?
I've never been on Facebook, so I'm doing fine.
Oh, good. Oh, we found that if you got kids and like all the school events and stuff are all notified on Facebook, and all the local community events are all on Facebook. Everyone's doing everybody's stuff on Facebook.
Well, I mean, quite literally, like, 80% of my community could move out, and I don't know if I would know,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's one guy down the street I worked with. He was pretty cool, but that's about it. and school stuff, I tell the teacher straight up, if you don't send me an email, go to hell. You ain't get nothing from me. You ain't get my kid. You ain't get nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one band teacher tried to just post marching band practice stuff to Facebook. And I said, and of course, me being me, I said, some like ridiculous privilege of you to assume I can even afford the internet. I'm a lowly government employee, because of course he's a government employee too. I said, I'm a lowly government employee. I have a hard enough time buying my kids clothes. You see how big his feet are? They keep growing. And who needs the internet anyway? It's only going to be a fad. So then he started emailing me stuff.
Good. Oh man, I had to go to my daughter's production show last night, and it was all about climate change. It was a 45-minute lecture on climate change. That was about it. Yeah, I mean the kids were good. They did all the right things, but man, it was just this whole message of ride your bicycle everywhere and use recycling and compost your
nuclear
rubbish.
Power. You want to fix it? Nuclear power. Issue done.
I've tried to upload this about 3 times now, and it keeps telling me that it's got connection to the server has been lost.
So you're seeing the interface?
Yes, I am. I'm in, and I'm seeing the interface, and I've clicked on the button under AAA, upload file, upload the file there, and it tells me it's got 8 minutes to go, and then bang, it goes.
Well,
an error. Connection to server lost.
Me being me, I'd ask you to do it on a hardwired connection, because it's pretty obvious you've been on wireless connection the entire show. Just saying.
No, it is not.
Every 5 seconds, your audio drops for like a second and a half.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's wireless. It doesn't matter if you have mesh or, anything. That's the nature of Wi-Fi.
Wasn't doing that before though, was it?
When?
In the last show I did.
Been doing it for 2 years, 3 years.
Oh, and now you tell me?
No, I've been begging you off and on to do a wired connection, and you say it's too far.
Oh, no, I've got a long cable. I can do that.
Okay.
Sorry, I will use a wired connection next time.
Oh, man. Yes, I mean, if you want to just upload it someplace else, that definitely works.
Okay, yeah, I'll just do it to my OneDrive file.
Oh, and man, like I wish the people I knew physically lived closer for just one reason alone, Ivor.
Yep.
If you're a fan of pork ribs at all,
right.
Man, I'm telling you, man. The doctor has now complained about my weight again.
Oh, really? Oh man, I know how I've been putting on the pounds as well. Just stuck at home in winter.
Well, I just said, it's just COVID weight. You just got to wait, doc.
That's right.
Yeah.
COVID weight.
Yeah, she didn't like that.
Get a new doctor.
Yeah, my last one retired, so I got a new one.
Oh, that's right.
And then she complained about my A1C being 6.5, and I said,
"What's your A1C?"
A1C is like your average. It's basically your average 3-month blood glucose level. 5.5 is considered perfect. Once you go above 6.4, you're considered diabetic. But when I did mine first, it was like 12.8 or something. It was ridiculous. And she said, well, it's high. I think we need to do something about this. And she started talking about all of these shots. I'm like, no, I'm not taking a shot. And I said, you do realize I just spent a week in Disney World eating Disney World food for 7 days straight. I said, maybe let's give me 30 days or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't get
What's Disney World food like?
Oh, it takes you go there for a week, it takes 8 months off your life. Super thick, super rich, super heavy. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. It's literally like going to, I'm not going to say, okay, I've never been to a 5-star restaurant before. Let's first get that out of the way. I've been to 3-star restaurants before. It's nearly equivalent to 3-star restaurants, and you're in a theme park kind of thing. Granted, the steak's like,
Wow.
$60. You're definitely paying a lot for the food, but it's really good. And the best thing was, we went there for 7 days. It was easily over $7,000. We came home. The wife had it paid off less than 2 days later because she's an accountant. She's really good with money.
Well, that's a good thing to have. Accountant.
Yeah, because if I was responsible for the money, we'd be eating roadkill twice a week. I'm pretty confident of that.
Well, let's use Google Drive. Oh, God, this is so annoying.
Well, and I'll do some more off-site testing and ask other people to try, because I will say this Rock 64 board is now years old, like at least 3 years old, and the external hard drive I have with it is over 2 years old. So wouldn't shock me at all if it's just starting to slowly degrade, and the physical business and the physical lag is causing the issue.
Okay.
My blood sugar has been 140 since I got COVID. Dude, that's not good. Yeah, you want it to be 110. Yeah. And I'll just tell you, Red, I'm not a doctor. Don't do anything I say, but avoid everything white except for eggs. And if you can eat a lot of fat, bacon, sausage, cheese, eggs, no starches, no French fries, no potatoes, no rice, no bread.
Stay away from the salt.
Well, I do believe Alton Brown when he said, technically speaking, there's nothing wrong with salt. Nobody's allergic to salt. Some people are genetically predisposed to, when they have too much salt, to develop high blood pressure. But you can put 10 people up in a line, have them all eat the same amount of salt, and there'll be a certain percentage of them that just won't get high blood pressure. So salt itself isn't bad unless you're predisposed to it. I was like, that kind of makes sense. Okay. Not gonna lie. Yeah, and yes, my blood pressure is like just high enough for them to say, I think you need some high blood pressure medication. To which I just want to say, I think you're causing my high blood pressure. But of course I can't.
Well, you stopped drinking the soda, didn't you? Stay away from that stuff.
I haven't drank soda. Well, yeah, as soon as I was confirmed diabetic, boom, absolutely no sugar beverages or even fake sugar beverages, because there were studies in Sweden that showed insulin levels and there was some other level in your blood. If you would drink a regular Coke versus a Diet Coke, didn't change. They were exactly the same. When your body thought it was tasting something sweet, it still did the same exact thing. So the closest thing I drink to soda is Monster Zeros, which are no sugar at all, lots of caffeine like things, 5 carbs. Yeah. Since I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, I don't use vaporizers anymore, I need something, and I'm replacing that something with caffeine.
Fair enough, too.
Yeah, lots and lots and lots and lots of caffeine.
Yeah, 2 cups of coffee a day, and that's my lot.
Yeah, I'm the guy. I can literally take one of these monsters, slam it in 5 minutes, then 5 minutes later, go to bed and go right to sleep.
Wow, I could never do that. Yeah, I have to stop drinking coffee at 3 o'clock. Have to have my last coffee before 3 p.m. Otherwise, I'm not going to sleep. Yeah.
Half the time, my wife's like that. And then every now and then, she'll have like a froofy, as she calls it, white girl coffee. like I don't say pumpkin spice, but whatever, one of those coffees
Mhm.
at like 6 p.m. And then it's like, okay, she's gonna stay up late tonight watching movies. Got it.
With almond milk.
Yeah. And that's the thing. She says she hates milk. And I'm like, do you realize like half of that cup is milk? But how dare I use common sense? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly. How dare you?
Yeah.
So what do you think we should call this episode?
I kind of wish some people in the chat gave us suggestions. Oh man. Huh. It's not cheap, it's affordable.
Yeah.
I was thinking something about your girl's phone's Oppo. And I will say this, that the reason I hate Samsung so much right now is they make some incredibly solid, cheap phones. I mean, really affordable phones, really good prices, and they really do compete really good with them. I will say the Motorola has a phone with a stylus, and it's not the Note anymore with the Samsung that has a stylus. And it's one of those things I keep looking at thinking, maybe I would like a stylus. But then maybe I'd buy it and then never use a stylus. I don't know.
I think you have to, once you start using it, once you get used to it, because I used to use a phone with a stylus for a while before before the iPhone came out. Actually, we had Windows phones and you had to use the stylus with those, otherwise they were useless.
Right.
Always losing the stylus.
Well, see, I got close with that then because I like my Palm PDA with the graffiti type language on the bottom kind of thing. Where it was purely stylus driven. And that's when I had the game Dope Wars, where it's basically like, stock market trading, except with drugs. And every time you'd go to a different spot, the drugs would be worth a different value. Right. So you had to go to this corner and you would buy this drug and go over there to that corner and sell it for 10 times the profit. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell was wrong with me? I don't know. But I had fun.
Oh yeah, that's what counts, really, isn't it? Man, I'm having all sorts of problems. I couldn't upload it Outlook. Now I'm trying to upload it to my Google Drive. See, it's dying halfway through. Ugh.
So that tells you it ain't my next file. Number one. Two, one thing you can do is you can go into your mesh interface and you should be able to say, what's the word? Not prioritize.
Yeah.
QoS. The technical term is QoS. They never call it QoS because an end user. Yeah, because an end user would look at that and say, "What?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Prioritize typically is what they call it. Prioritize. Because I had to on my network prioritize my Android TV in the living room and the Roku TV up in the bedroom, so the wife had clean streaming experience.
Okay. I think the other thing it does is it automatically switches networks between 2.4 and 5, depending on the strength of the signal.
It's supposed to.
Yeah, but I don't know if there's any kind of disconnection and reconnection process, or if it goes.
It's one of those things. It's supposed to be in air quotes seamless.
Yeah. Right. Let's have a look. Wi-Fi. No, not that one. Internet. VLAN. Nope, that one. Clients. No, these are my clients.
Yeah. Priority by device. I can only prioritize 2 devices on my network.
Okay. I don't even have that. Management. How's that?
Yeah, so I think what I'm also going to do moving forward, Ivor, I used to, because they want me in the office 4 days a week, and I always teleworked on Monday because I hate Mondays.
Fair enough.
This week I'm teleworking on Friday because I had to do something on Monday. I can't remember what it was. Which makes it easier because then I can literally get up an hour and a half later and still be at work at near quit at the same time. So I think I'm going to do that moving forward, move my telework day to Friday, which will make this show much easier to do.
Okay. Yeah. No, I can't find it. Okay, well, it seems to work. Got a minute left. Oh, Red's off to buy groceries.
And my local place I buy groceries, it's like a Costco, one of those bulk places where when you buy toilet paper, it's like 80 rolls of toilet paper. We've been going there for the last 3 weeks. If you spend $100, you get 50 cents off each gallon of gas, which is like, you go in there and you don't spend $100, you deserve a medal because it's really difficult. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, every week we've been going in. I've been like counting the stuff. I'm like, I'm good, it's $100, and then we can fill up her minivan, which is literally like 20 plus gallons. It's a biggie.
Okay.
I really like saving money.
New Zealand just got its first Costco. It's being built at the moment.
Yeah.
We used to have one, but they got out. They're nothing back. They're only in Auckland, though.
Well, the one thing I'll tell you about Costco is if you like jumbo hot dogs, the CEO said if you ever raise the price, whoever raises the price of these hot dogs and these pizzas that they offer in their shop, you're immediately fired. So now what everyone believes is they're literally losing like $2 a dog every time you buy one. But he's like, I don't care. It brings people into the building. So do not raise those prices.
Yep. The same thing. There's meatballs.
Yeah.
In the cafeteria, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it. It definitely gets people in the door.
Oh yeah, the good meatballs. So you should have an email now with that file link.
And how big is the megabytes?
63.8.
Just want to make sure it's similar. Today, Goog. Okay, convert there like this and say downloading, close down here and say refresh, and I believe it's done downloading. And 66.9. I like it when mine's bigger. Sorry, I had to say that.
About the size, what you do with it.
Well, it's like every operating system measures differently is the way I'll put it. They all do weird stuff. Okay. So I got it.
Cool. All right, mate. Well, I've got to go and pick up my daughter from the... Great to talk to you again, mate.
Absolutely, man.
And hopefully we can do it again next week.
Oh, yeah. Very cool.
All right, mate. See ya.
Take it easy. Okay, now I have to edit this and get it done and get into bed because it's already 11 o'clock. So I'm going to end this stream. I think the safest way is to come up here and hit it, maybe. No. Yeah, hit it here first. All right, Red. All right, anybody else who sees this, thank you guys for coming out and hope you had fun.